Hello everyone, Railgan here with yet another replay, and today we're looking at this game of sickcity. It's yet another CVC where somebody asked me for some help. In this game he said what he did well was, I came back from a good deficit by using mute as well, but I cornered myself late game and struggled to find a way back into the game once I noticed that he had infestor tech down. What he think he did wrong was, I definitely mismicroed at the end, and the links shouldn't have gotten in at the start, but I definitely need to work on ending games, and I have a lead with Mutas. This is a 4K MMR Zerg player, sickcity, that is Diamond 3 on NA. We're going to have a look at this game now. So we see the standard hatch gas pool stuff. Lines up nicely for the 100 gas, and he will probably keep the drones in gas. Should start his link speed a little bit delayed, but that's fine. 4 links as a starter is exactly what I like to do as well. His opponent Adam is going for a very fast bailing nest. Was a pull first opener. 17 drones on the mineral, only 2 in the gas. Just put 3 in the gas, please. I'm quite confused why the links are at home. I mean, I guess he saw that his opponent didn't have a hatchery with the Overlord, or a delayed hatchery, so he wanted to keep them at home. This is a really good trade for sickcity. He should definitely be on to an early lead. He's getting a pretty fast Overlord speed, that's good. And he went for the fast spinning nest as well instead of the third base, because he saw that his opponent might do something aggressive. That is smart as well. And the double evolution chamber. That's already quite a bit of a mix-up. What we notice is, one thing I always like to pay attention to is, besides the injects, which is missing one inject here, but that's not the end of the world, he's scouting with an Overlord since he did get the Overlord speed. He's not starting any upgrades yet, but instead he's going for the lair. Kinda curious what triggered that. I mean, he did build the 2 evolution chambers, but he's not using them at all. He's making banelings. Look at the larva count. The larva count is at 0, that's exactly what we want. Always spend our larva. Of course, he missed an inject in the natural before. They both delayed their third base for quite a while. And I'm still curious about these 2 evolution chambers. So this is 150 minerals in evolution chambers, 100 minerals in the 2 drones, and 2 larvae that he put into 2 evolution chambers that he has not used at all this game. This could have just been a quicker third base instead of, well, I mean, they kind of defend the spine crawler, I guess, but do you really need them? Now he's trying a ling run by that kind of failed. And he did say that he came back from a good deficit, so something definitely went wrong in the early game. I'm starting to see what, like, he might have seen these 2 evolution chambers and thought his opponent was going roaches. Like, he does have vision on them, and he saw only 1 gas. A little bit confused. The Mutalisk build that he's playing does feel very solid. He gets the 4 gas, he has really good mineral saturation. That's something you always want. You always want your minerals to be saturated. Injects, that's the second inject that he's missing on this hatchery, that's bad. And he's building a lot of spine crawlers right now. But his opponent is not, you don't really need to build a lot of spines if your opponent is not playing aggressive. Just take your third base, you have the money. Build the third base, if he cancels it, so what? Yeah, exactly, that's what you do. That's the right choice, sickcity. His opponent almost has his +1/+1 finish. Maybe these 2 evolution chambers were a fake. Or maybe he wanted to drop but then decided against it. The ling run by. Oh, and he's attacking the extractor. Yeah, but the ling run by gets shut down hard. He rallied his drones over here, that's okay, I guess. Doesn't really matter where you send them. The opponent is going for mutalisks of his own. He does have more gas, of course. If you look at the unit count, 8 mutas against soon to be 7. And sickcity has the larva advantage. So I'm kind of placing through this right now. A little bit. More overlords. Adam is trying to get his mutalisks out right now, but he wants to get out as many as possible at once so he doesn't lose them one by one while they're hatching. Yep, you get... think need more drones in the mineral, maybe in the main base maybe. It's also building even more spine crawlers. So many spines. Just move the spines down here instead, or something. Like, what are these spines going to do against the mutas? It's getting the +2 armor upgrade. Some like to get the +1 attack because it's quicker. This scenario, the +2 armor upgrade is just fine because the armor upgrade of course hits 3 times when you attack with a muta, once on each bounce. So that's good. He could definitely be more aggressive with these lings and banelings. His opponent doesn't really have too much besides the banelings and the queens, so maybe taking out a couple of queens. Muta fight's always dangerous, especially if you're on even upgrades. He is now starting to use these evolution chambers that he built way earlier on. He's doing a really good job at keeping his money low, but it's also due to the fact that he simply doesn't really have too much money. Now he built 2 more pools. I guess he lost one in the main. Right? And that's a 3rd evolution chamber. Why is there a 3rd evolution chamber? I'm starting to get a little bit confused. Now his +2 armor upgrade finishes, so it's a very good timing right here. That was a very good timing. And he does have his hive on the way. And his opponent is now getting the infestors. So I want to pause here for a second and assess the game situation. What we have is our opponent who has mutalisks, has a 4th hatchery. While we have 1 hatch, 2 hatch, 3 hatch, 4 hatch. Don't really have drones in the main, on the minerals. Just build 6 drones or whatever and put them here so get some more income, or really 4 or 5 drones from the natural here. This kind of triggers me. We do have 1/1 upgrades. Our opponent is getting the +2 carapace and he has infestors on the way. Worker wise we have a slight deficit, but that's okay. Because we have more mutas, I think, right? 22 to 10. So at this point I feel like sickcity has this in the bag. Now the infestors are on the way, but sickcity can also just go for ultralisks or vipers. So I'm curious what he's going for. Yep. He's doing a really good job at keeping the money low. He's constantly building the mutas. That's very well done by him. And he's also being very active with these mutas. This is exactly what you want to do. Always be active. Has to be careful not to lose them against all these queens. Queens are really good against mutas. A ling run by. This is what I was talking about before. Should have done it earlier. He sees the infestor, so now I think he gets scared, right? That's what he mentioned. I struggled to get back into the game once I noticed my opponent has infestors. Right now he's doing the wrong thing. Okay, let's pause for a second. Our opponent has Ling Baning Infestor Muta. Ling Baning Infestor get beaten pretty hard by ultras, and we do have the hive. So just build a ultralisk cavern and steamroll his ground army. Then the mutalisks don't really do too much damage against the ultras either. But if we have to deal with the mutas, why not just build some vipers? Parasitic bomb, it's even better than fungal, right? Parasitic bomb absolutely destroys these. Makes fighting a lot easier. Okay. Well, we keep taking more bases without redroning our main. I'm not sure if he just never noticed. I'm pretty sure he just didn't notice that he had the main base. This is a really bad fight. He's using all his Mutalisks right now. The ground units, and he has to GG out. What went wrong here? Why are we so scared of infestors? If we can build our own infestors, these are just 3 infestors. Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back and have a look again at the point of the game. First of all, I think personally, the reason why this all got so bad is because the main is not mining at all, right? This is a really good move with the links. I mean, we trade against some banelings, we see the infestor, that's what we want, we know what our opponent is going for. And there's no reason to be so scared of 3 infestors. They do not do terrible amounts of damage, just be active with the Mutalisks. You don't need to be so scared at home. You always paid attention to the Mutalisks before this fight, so why not do it now? Just be more active. The +3 carapace upgrade. He went for does have a single attack upgrade as well. And you can also pull the queens into the battle, they also help against his mutas. But some ultralisks would have done absolute wonders. Like 2 vipers with parasitic bombs, some ultras, and this would have been an entirely different fight. Or just a little bit better, spread on the mutas. Let's look at the muta count. We're about even on mutas, which is weird, considering that we killed so many of his mutas and have about the same gas income, right? Right. That feels really weird. And our opponent went for Mutalisks as well. Well, we built roaches. Not sure why we built those. sickcity built the roaches. Now he has everything clumped up, and this is exactly what he wants, right? It's like the worst possible engagement, the full-on fungal lock. This is just a really horrible engagement. Just send in some, then all the links run into the Banes. It's like the panic. That one Bane killed like 10 Banelings of sickcity. So I think if you would have just gone for either infestors of your own, vipers, or ultralisks, you could have done it. If your opponent goes for infestors, you always have to consider that there's a pretty big investment. First he needs the pathogen glands, infestation pit. Then he also has to pay for the 3 infestors. That's a lot of gas, minerals, and time spent on getting the infestors out. And in that amount of time you have to do damage. That's a big timing window. Else why would you not simply go for infestors of your own, especially if you have already done damage? I know he's very secure with spore crawlers. Why not just send links over here, go down here with the Mutalisk, send some links over here. Just try to do some damage to him with your ground units. But once again, I want to highlight what I think is the main problem, which is his space is not really mining. And the second big problem, these 2 evolution chambers early on that really didn't do anything. Third problem, the hatchery that was really late. I know you lost it once and then you retook it, I think you did that well, but you could have just taken this instead of the evolution chambers. Then done something else. Also you built 3 evolution chambers, I'm not sure when you built this evolution chamber, this drone is not mining. The Hydra then, you don't really want to go Hydras against mutants. Not if he has this many. Just get infestors or even better vipers and throw some parasitic bombs. Much better. Pull some queens to the fight, parasitic bombs. Micro your units better. You don't want all your links and banelings to just die. You wouldn't do that otherwise either. So it's not smart to do that in the late game. Ultralisks would have been really helpful. So those are the things that I would have changed. But overall I might have to say your macro was really good. You You always kept your larva count low. You missed some insects, but that's okay. Everybody misses them from time to time. You invested a lot into these spine crawlers. I'm not sure if you ever had to use them, but could have also just tried to fight in the spine crawlers. Make use of what you build. You don't want to build 7 spine crawlers and then never make use of them. It's a lot of money. Each spine crawler is like 150 minerals and a larva, so be careful of that. Then I want to end this by talking about the general problem and the bonus question. General problem, just general issues getting back to the swing. I feel somewhat lost in CVC outside of going for mass muta. Yeah, CVC is very difficult. I made a lot of videos about the matchup. At the moment I like to go 2-base lurker style. Feel pretty safe, delay my third. Otherwise I can really suggest you the guide that Pick wrote about 3-base Slingbane Roach. And then use that as your go-to. I think it's the best opener right now. You just want to go for the safe, solid play, even with your superior mechanics and skill. Play the build that Pick wrote a guide on Team Liquid. I'm sure you can find it in the strategy section. Bonus question, what are my biggest mechanical flaws in my macro? How can I get better, convert leads into ending games? That's always a good question, right? I talked about your mechanics a lot. I said you did a really good job at keeping your larva count low. I don't think your mechanics I think your mechanics are actually better than most people on your level. I'm gonna go quickly over the replay again. The thing that I always pay attention to is supply blocks, insects, and larva. Play through it. If you have the unit tab open, you can always see the larva. You want the larva to disappear. You always want 0 larva if possible. While you're building drones, always keep your larva at 0. 1, 2, 1, 0, 0. See? And the larva always disappear. I talked about you missing some insects, and each insect is a potential of... Is it 6 slings now? Forgot actually, I think it's 6 slings. But you're doing a really good job with your insects. You also don't really get supply block too much from what I've noticed. You take your gases reasonably. Take the third at okay time. I mean, you're going for 2-base muta, so of course you delay the third and you lose it, so that's really good. These 2 evolution chambers I'm not a fan of. Not a fan of at all. The spine crawlers I can understand. You feel threatened. You're like, well, what if he goes for a big Ling Roach Bane bust? Which is definitely an option. Could have scouted a little bit better with the links. You do go for the early overlord speed. Maybe try to use some drops as well, if you go for that anyways. Once again, if you look at the larva count, it's always really low. You're doing a really good job at that. One thing I absolutely hate is that you do not put more drones into the main base. Like, you go for 3 bases, but it's like having only the gases at your third. You build so many defensive structures, but I feel like you're not paying attention to your main mineral line. Just build some more drones, take a 4th base. Because your worker count is pretty okay otherwise. I'd just build like 10 more drones and then be good. That way you can also afford more links, be more aggressive. That's when you lose the pool. Yep. Then you build 2 pools, not sure why. This is all just money that you're wasting, like these spine crawlers. Of course, you probably didn't know that he's going for mutas. Spines can be helpful. I'm not too big of a fan of them in the CVC matchup. I like to build 1 spine or a lot against 2-base all-ins. This was a big fight for you, where you did a lot of damage to him. A big game changer, and then this is a good Ling run by. Then you make a big mistake. Instead of killing the 4th, you just lose everything. Could have been, like, you were very active with your mutas, but I feel like you were always on one side of the map. That 4th should have died. This 4th should have been dead way long ago. Should have absolutely killed that 4th. If you go for the hive, just build the Ultralisk Cavern, please. They're very good in CVC. Nothing can kill ultras. Even this many mutas will not kill 2 to 3 ultras in time, where you can take care of all his infestors, links and banes. especially if you have Muta support. And then of course the big fight where you lose everything. But as I said, I feel like your macro is actually pretty fine. Just need to work a little bit on your decision making, at least from what I've seen in this game. I feel like you just didn't build enough drones in this space. Well, you were always behind in the drone count. You did take some pretty good trades early on against the Mutas, then you teched. But you made a weird tech switch into Roach Hydra against Mass Muta, which I do not understand at all. Just go Ultra Viper. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!